I'm a bird, mother. I'm a bird.
This is not about the allegations. This is about him ruining an actual save the game movement. So he's completely misrepresenting and basically saying that it basically he's saying that it stands for something else. Like he's completely ruining. You watch Legendary Drops too? Yeah, I usually watch them off stream though. They won't let you win. Stop killing games. Okay.
This whole stop killing games thing has lit a fire underneath me. I'm feeling a heck of a lot more venomous than I normally would. There's been this pervasive idea that's been pushed throughout the video game community in which that you cannot enact change. No matter how unfair things are, no matter what you say, no matter what you do, nothing will change. But I'm going to tell you that it's not a matter of you cannot change things. It's a matter of you not being allowed to. Players for years have complained about how aggressively anti-consumer this industry is become, which is crazy.
You buy a game, they shut down at the game, and then they're like, "Oh, you never bought the game. You just license the game to be able to use it while it's still available."
Me when I sit back and watch people that somehow
really quiet. Hold on, let me fix that. Volume booster. This should be better.
Want to defend.
It worked too well. My bad. It worked too well. I apologize. Hope all of you are awake now.
The way that things have become, and in some cases just say that we just need to let it go. It's better not to tamper with it. That could be dangerous, even though we paid for it. Digital rights ownership and licenses, microtransactions, data harvesting, third-party parasitic software that's disguised as either anti-piracy or anti-cheating. We went from simply buying a game, playing it, and playing it whenever and however we wanted to a laundry list of different things that are actively harming the hobby and bring us no benefit at all.
I'm still so salty the fact that they took Diablo 2, they slapped on the remaster on it, and now the magnificent piece of artwork that Diablo 2 was is completely slobbered and shot on by their remaster because they are one and the same now. So every single crash that the remaster has, and it's a lot of crashes, for me it was barely even playable. It was crashing every hour. And there's no such thing as going and playing the original because it's in the same game now. It's literally a toggle remaster or the original. They completely murdered the game.
These concerns and criticisms that we've had over the years are oftentimes met with, you don't know what you're talking about. You shouldn't ask for those things. That could be dangerous. I'm going to lose my mind when it comes to some of this stuff. People are going to buy games anyway. There's nothing that you guys can do about it. They complicate, they obfuscate, and even when we do get a win, which that actually happens quite frequently, we've been having a lot of that lately, well, they try to stand in front of it and say it's not your win, or it was going to happen anyway. So today what I want to do is I want to talk about where we're winning and where we're losing. I want to eviscerate this idea that we don't have any control over how games are made, what games are made, how much they cost, and the future of it.
Oh, we absolutely have control over it because the reality is these companies wouldn't get money if we don't buy shit. So we 100% have control over it. As much as I hate saying it, but yes, if you want a change, you shouldn't be supporting them. That's the only way the change will happen.
I also want to make sure that I take very special care to talk about Stop Killing Games and how its momentum was cut short. But before that, a word from today's sponsor, Displate. Now, this one is actually really cool because of the fact that you guys seem to really like Displate on this channel, which makes a lot of sense because I really like Displate myself. But they're actually offering us a one-time 24-hour discount specifically just to this community because of how supportive we've been. I'm going to buy more. For the next 24 hours, you guys can get 40% off the entire site using my code Legendary at checkout. This is their biggest discount, and they're only doing.
Has anyone tried them? Are they like really good? Because I've been eyeballing them for some time.
for this channel, and it's specifically
Because that
because of
looks cool.
just how supportive this community has been. Displate literally
Yeah,
just
that looks
reached
really
out
cool.
saying that they wanted to say thank you, and this is part of the reason why I genuinely love working with these guys. But if you haven't seen one, Displate makes high-quality metal posters that mount magnetically. Just stick a magnet to the wall, line it up, and once you're done, that's it. No tools, no damage, and when you want to move or swap them out, it's just as easy as peeling them off. Displate has basically become my mail decorating solution. When I move later this year, I'm actually just going to cover an entire wall in these things. They travel well, they're super easy to be able to set up, and you have over 1 million designs to choose from. Retro games,
That is
anime,
cool.
movies, even textured prints like their Magic the Gathering mana symbol set, or one of my recent favorites, the Elden Ring Night Rain designs. So hit the link in the description below or go to displate.com and use my code LEGENDARY to get 40% off site-wide for the next 24 hours after this video goes live. Just don't wait. It's only good for the next 24 hours. Thank you to Displate for sponsoring today's video. Now, I think this entire discussion deserves a little bit of added context. It's been missing from the conversation, but the biggest issues that are facing players today aren't even hidden. They're just normalized. We don't own our games. At any time, they can be taken away, altered, pulled offline, or quietly gutted through updates. Publishers can mislead their customers and just call it artistic vision. They can raise prices without warning, monetize anything they want, shove in third-party...
Or how Naraka did that. They literally, the skins you spend hundreds of dollars for, they just changed it. Just because they felt like it.
Yep, just because.
Party software and harvest our personal data, all without consequence. They've effectively built an industry where this behavior is now expected, and most people just bend over for it. From where I'm standing, the video game industry is one of the most deliberately obscured and openly anti-consumer industries in the world. Some of that falls on publishers, sure. Some of it's also on politicians that just don't understand the medium, and some of it is also the executives who have lobbied to be able to keep a lot of that stuff in place. But the deeper reason why, and the reason why they've gotten away with it for so long, is that this industry is still very young. Modern gaming as we know it only really went mainstream back in 1998 with the PlayStation. That's barely been 30 years ago. In that time, the shift has been violent, and it hasn't stopped. Physical media gave way to digital. Couch co-op became online multiplayer. One-time purchases were replaced with season passes, microtransactions, and gacha pulls. All of it happened so fast, too fast for laws to catch up, and too fast for most players to realize.
Time to go back to the browser games.
They're dead. You can't do it no more.
You can.
Shockwave is gone.
Yeah, but you can still play like the Barbie Dreamland on the website. Pretty sure you can, right?
How do you know this?
I used to play it.
What is that?
I was broke. I used to play it.
What they were losing before it was already gone.
Does anyone know if the Terry Pratchett text game is gone? That one was good.
I mean, regulation around games is a mess. This industry is a Frankenstein of overlapping systems, music licensing, film classification, software enforcement, online infrastructure, and not a single set of laws was ever designed to be able to handle all of this at once. And through all of that, foundational legal structures that have been built, end user license agreements, terms of service, IP law, DRM, these are all built to maximize control for the publishers, not protect the players. They give these...
Yeah. No, I am not happy about this because it is about everything about the developers, but the customers go screw yourself. Thank you so much for the membership, Tyrant.
These companies the right to revoke access to alter products post-sale, to harvest our data, and all the while they hide behind these dense, unreadable contracts. The system is too complex by design, and the more convoluted it gets, the harder it becomes for anybody to hold these guys accountable. Through this constant and relentless evolution of this industry, we, the customer, have always been on the back foot. Prices keep going up, rights disappear, protections never arrive, and the further that we go, the more it starts to feel like we're just being quietly suffocated. Games now hide behind walls of legalese, 12,000 word long end user license agreement. They use made up terms like buy to play or free to play and layers of technical obfuscation to make it nearly impossible to know what we're actually even agreeing to. What used to be just a simple transaction, you buy a game and you play it, is now an implicit contract where you sign away your own.
I will also a little bit go further. You buy a game and you actually enjoy it.
Ownership, your usage rights, and in some cases, your personal data, just for a chance to escape for a couple of hours. The core issue here is that this industry grew too fast and too selfish, and somewhere along the way, it just left the customer behind. And worse off, we are operating in a system in which players can clearly understand. We can clearly see that something is wrong. We can name the culprits. We can spot the red flags. We can warn each other in real time, yet we can't fully explain how the trick works or how to fix it because none of us are developers. We're not lawyers. We don't have back-end access. And all we have is a growing list of examples and a survival instinct that's telling us to fight. And one of the best examples of players trying to fight back, that survival instinct kicking in, trying to sound the alarm before things get worse, is Stop Killing Games, an initiative that was started by Ross of Accursed Farms. He's been warning people for over a decade now, fighting to get consumer protections around digital rights, asking just one thing. Don't let companies erase games that people paid for.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of you guys already know about this.
And you would think it's such a small ask, even if it's an online game, right? You can at least let players have the capabilities of hosting their own servers to play the game. I don't think it's such a big ask.
But in case you don't, the core idea is simple. When you buy a game, you should be able to keep it. You shouldn't lose access just because a publisher decides they want to flip a switch. Right now, Ubisoft, of all companies, God, these guys cannot stay out of trouble, can they? They're getting sued in California over this exact issue, a class action lawsuit that claims that the company misled players by selling the crew as a product that they owned when in reality it was a time-limited license. And
The crew is finally biting them in the butt. I love this.
that's the trick, isn't it? Because physical games were always understood as ownership, but digital games, somewhere along the way, that language sort of mutated a little bit. What you're really buying now isn't a game, it's permission, temporary, revocable permission. And we didn't vote on that. We didn't agree to it. It was forced on us quietly, systematically, and now it's just normalized. Now, the Stop Killing Games initiative has re-entered public conversation recently, partly because it's struggling to reach its goal before its end date. If you are an EU viewer of mine, make sure you go read it and sign it. The link will be down in the description below. And the other part of it is because of the...
I already signed it. The second I heard of it, I already signed it. I am a EU passport holder, even though I'm in US right now. But the second I heard that, I just had to do it.
The lingering damage that is caused by streamer and game developer pirate software. As of recording this video, the petition sits at just over 500,000 signatures, which is an incredible amount, but it's halfway to what it needs.
Yeah, it's not enough.
Ross claims that pirates' coverage last year not only misrepresented the movement, but actively derailed it. Unfortunately for me, I watch Pirate's reaction streams and his follow-up videos, and honestly, it felt like I was watching somebody that was arguing with a phantom version of the initiative that only existed in their head. He fixated on vague language, got visibly irritated over a harmless joke about...
Didn't he also misquote literally the first sentence on the website, what it even stands for? I think that's like the main thing people are pointing it out.
Politicians, and then slowly unraveled into a spiral of self-assured condescension. At one point, he launched into a tangent about how MMOs would need to be redeveloped as single-player games, something that was never even proposed in the initiative. And I don't think that that was confusion. I think it was a straw man that was dressed up to make the entire movement look clueless. Ross reached out to this guy just to clear the air, and Pirate's response was that there was nothing to discuss.
What? What an ego. Are you joking me? The person saw that you misrepresented something that he is organizing and spoken for and pushing. He reached out to you to help you with the information. And you go, nah, I don't want any. What is that ego?
Straight into calling Ross and the movement disgusting, hurling personal insults.
What?
Now, of course, his initial comments and criticisms did come under fire last year, but just to make sure that misrepresentation stuck, he followed up the initial backlash with a 15-minute video where within the first 90 seconds, he reframes the entire initiative as being about live service games, which...
Yeah, I heard this. I heard this. He's literally saying that Stop Killing Games is about live service games. It's literally in the name. Stop Killing Games, as in don't unplug from life support the game.
It's part of it, but it's definitely not the entire thing. Watching it back, this guy is like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. On YouTube, he's Mr. Rogers. This is the only...
Thank you. I've been having the same feeling about him, but different reason. My feeling about him being like so different is his Twitter account sounds completely different from him compared to how he talks on stream. Like he doesn't even he he says one thing on Twitter and another thing on his streams that contradicts each other.
Yeah, he's definitely some kind of.
I don't
I
even
hate.
I don't even know if he's the one running his own Twitter. I'm starting to think that it's not even him.
Version of the guy that I knew. Helpful game developer offering advice and encouraging newcomers, but in his streams, this guy is unhinged, completely unprovoked. He's telling Ross and the entire movement to eat his entire ass, and then bragging about how he's going to actively convince people not to sign the petition.
All of this can eat shit then. I drop the mask entirely. I have no qualms about that. They can eat my entire ass. The whole thing.
That is not somebody
Ugh.
that misunderstood the message. That's somebody who wants to bury it. Because if you're a developer or even an indie developer, you know damn well that most modern games have some form of
Okay, a part of me was like, okay, maybe he misunderstood, but yeah.
always online or a live service tether. That is the point. The issue isn't MMOs. They're definitely a part of the conversation for sure. Live service games the same. It's just that the infrastructure to revoke access exists across the board in almost every game today. So when people are trying to say that this guy's just being stubborn or he's lost in his own ego, I'm not buying it. I mean, part of it's definitely true, but you don't miss the point this thoroughly, this often, unless you mean to. Now, some time has passed since then, but Stop Killing Games is back in the spotlight largely because of the fallout of Pirate Software's original coverage. But
Okay.
Pirate Software, once again, is responding to criticism. Multiple creators have been calling him out for how
Wait, hold on. What exactly does it
Pirate
say?
Software, once again, is responding.
Been reading through all the posts against me over my stance on Stop Killing Games initiative. Tons of people calling me a liar or that I misrepresent the initiative. Also, lots of content creators dogpiling on this to get their pound of flesh. Let's dig into what I actually did and said. I put out 2 videos on August 6, 2024 and August 7, 2024. These videos are linked at the bottom of the post. Many people have not watched them and are just calling me a liar or attacking my character. Uh, give the videos a watch, read the initiative itself, make conclusion that you aren't copy pasting from social media. Monetization on these videos is disabled, so no, this is not some play to increase revenue. I just care about this subject and have rightful concerns as a person working in this space. In the first video, I go through what an initiative is, how it's not law, and how it's starting point for this entire process. This helps people understand that this is to start the conversation for change and can adapt later. Okay.
To criticism. Multiple creators have been calling him out for how he's misrepresented the movement.
That's so long. I then go through the initiative and some of its goals from the official page for it. I then talk about the repercussion of them should they be implemented. As written, all games need to be left in a functional playable state. Next, I bring up the crew and walk through the business around it, the sequel, and the size of the player base at the time of sunset. I did this because it was called out by this initiative as an example of publishers destroying a game. I also harshly critique Ross Scott's wording in his video because they disparage the lawmaking process and lawmaker which doesn't benefit players or this movement in any way. In the second video, I talked about the potential scenario where a studio could be abused if the initiative was implemented as written. It adds new paths for abuse and the need to be discussed to help hone this initiative into something that would do good without doing harm, okay?
Charlie, Mudahar, and more.
Oh my god, this is way too long. I'm not reading all of it. If you want, here, I paused it for you. But he is doubling down here about this. This is not feasible for all games at a technical level and could potentially restrict developers from making online only games like MMOs, MOBAs, and user generated content games in the future. This list is not exhaustive and it doesn't matter if you do or don't like those kinds of games. Okay.
Yet, instead of engaging
Oh
in
my
good faith,
God.
he's chosen to triple down,
He wrote a book.
inventing demands
That's
that were
true.
never mentioned in the original Accursed Farms video. He's taken to Twitter to paint himself a victim, calling the criticism dogpiling, while once again fixating on the vague language that was contained within the initiative and pretending like a petition is a formal legislative proposal rather than what it actually is, a grassroots call for consumer protection. Look, I'm not here to dissect every single one of this guy's missteps. To be honest with you guys, I wouldn't care enough to be able to do so in the first place. But I do believe that his takes are deliberate, not ignorant, like a lot of other people are claiming. There is a fundamental misunderstanding about the position that this guy is speaking from. A lot of people still see Pirate as just a content creator, a fellow gamer in a lot of cases, but he is not. He is a high on his own supply game developer and a self-published one at that. A dangerous combination. When
Okay.
movements like this start gaining traction, especially ones with broad, emotionally driven language, people in his position see them as a threat. Regulation, even when justified, brings risk. And for somebody running their own studio, that risk feels personal. He is not approaching this as a customer or as a consumer who feels disadvantaged. He can't even see it from that perspective. He is approaching it as a developer who wants to keep things exactly the way they are, because any structural change might infringe on his or other developers' profitability, creative control.
Okay, so he's looking at it from a perspective of an indie self-publishing developer who is afraid that all these changes will literally financially cause ruin or close to it.
Control and freedom. Which honestly, that would be a valid position to take if that were actually an issue in the first place. But this guy's entire argument hinges on how vague the petition's wording is and how dangerously specific it needs to be. And that is what drives me crazy because, bro, of course it's vague. It exists to draw attention to systemic failure and ask for help fixing it. It is written by players. It was never meant to be airtight legislation. Demanding legal precision from a grassroots movement is like.
And that's literally what he pointed out in his own post. This is not the law. This is just an initiative. But then he's like, okay, but also these things shouldn't be implemented. But you already yourself said it's just an initiative. You already pointed out that you acknowledge that this is not the law. This is not the change. It's just people are trying to get any change, not that specific one, not that word for word one.
Yelling at a fire alarm because it didn't tell you where the smoke was coming from. While I can agree that vague language and blind legislative involvement could damage the industry, what this guy doesn't understand, or better yet, probably doesn't even care about, is that customers are so fed up and so disadvantaged that we would rather see this industry burn than continue to get fucked any longer. I think what makes this all worse is who Pirate Software is. He is not just a dev, he is a widely known advice streamer whose entire platform is built on helping people navigate the games industry. His YouTube shorts dominate timelines, giving advice and explanations. He is in the most unique position to steer this conversation, to refine the message, to bring nuance where it is needed. He could have acknowledged the frustrations that players are feeling.
And I'm pretty sure because he has such a huge audience and such a huge wide reach, he definitely is influencing a lot of indie developers and a lot of consumers.
Classified the legitimate concerns and then offered guidance on how to push the discussion forward, but instead he got triggered by a joke, lashed out, and then kept escalating, misrepresenting the entire movement, discrediting its supporters, and doubling down on made-up demands. That's why I'm saying all of this is not a misinterpretation. It is a purposeful misdirection. He knows when players are saying things like, give us the source code after a live service shutdown. That is not a literal policy demand. It is throwing something at the wall. It is just a symptom of frustration. It is a way of saying this isn't fair and we are tired of being taken advantage of. Yeah, maybe the specifics don't make any sense. Maybe we're asking for the wrong things. You could actually help with that, but
Yeah.
you chose not to. The emotion here is real. Most of us don't know how to fix the industry. We just know that
He could be able to help. He would have been able to sit down with Ross and help him polish up the wording and help him polish out like understanding more like where it should be applied, where it shouldn't be applied. But instead he chose to completely shit on it.
it's broken, and we're not wrong for pointing it out, even if we don't have all the answers. You're going to have people that are going to want to stand in the way of something like Stop Killing Games or any other movement that might pop up in the future because they want to keep the status quo, because they want to protect themselves, their profitability, their companies, and they just are afraid of change. They're afraid of politicians coming in and touching something that they fundamentally don't understand. And I understand that risk. I also don't give a shit. We can't stand idly by anymore. I'm going to boil this down very simply for everybody. Right now, we are buying products that have a license. That license can expire.
Yeah.
But it has no expiration date. How does that make any sense? And how
It doesn't.
No,
It
doesn't.
absolutely doesn't.
is that fair? It is quite literally predicated on it expires when we say so. That's it. That's as simple as the language gets. That should not exist. That is just blatantly unfair, and I don't even understand how these guys have gotten away with it, to be honest with you. I'm posting a link to the EU petition in the description of this video. If you are an EU viewer of mine, I am looking at you right now. Go sign it. Go read it, obviously, first. Don't just sign it blindly.
Yeah.
But while it doesn't have all the answers,
Even if you think something is there that sounds really good, always read it no matter what.
it at least draws attention to an issue, and that's all we can ask for at this point. Far too many times do I see people cry out, oh, we'll never be able to fix X or Y thing. People will buy it anyway. People won't do anything. Nobody will stand up. Of course they won't. Of course they will just buy anything. People rarely do anything that's actually in their best interest. That's why consumer protections exist. They are a firewall, and you have an opportunity to build a firewall that protects you and people that get to play video games in the future. If you love the hobby, support the hobby. Protect the hobby, because it's very obvious that video game developers don't want to. You know, I saw in response to a lot of the criticism, Pirate Software has been writing very lengthy tweets online. Good Lord, it's a lot of words, man. I would never take the time to write something that long on Twitter. But he had talked.
If only he took that time and that effort and that length to write the code for his goddamn game.
Yeah, it's been like 7 years. I kind of looked at it.
Also, for legal reasons.
That's my opinion!
Talked about how, well, if you make live service games more difficult to make, then developers are going to make more single player and couch co-op games. Oh God, nothing but that, nothing but something that actually values my time. Oh God, how do you not recognize how cooked this industry is? How do you not recognize how bad things have gotten? Are we supposed to just sit back and believe that it's a rare coincidence that for some odd reason all of these companies want to have a live service game because, oh, it must be because it's for our best interests, right? Is that why? His entire argument hinged on how vague the language was in the petition and talked about how he didn't want politicians to come in and blindly start legislating. Really funny coming from the guy that got triggered over the fact that Ross said that politicians like easy wins.
Okay, but Pirate Software gets triggered about everything. I don't remember the last time there was a week where he didn't get upset about something and wrote a whole essay.
Which one is it, my guy? You ever think to yourself that maybe this industry needs to have some regulation? Maybe it needs to have some limitation, and without it, they're no good? But digital rights ownership isn't the end of this fight. There's a lot of other battles that we're fighting right now, and just as many people are lining up to say that we can't win or that we shouldn't win. And even when we do accomplish something, well, they tell us that it wasn't you. It was going to happen anyway. But the truth is, what these people forget is that we are the ones that enact change because we're the ones that are paying for it.
Yes, and the faster people understand that consumers actually are the ones who give these companies money, the faster there's going to be a change.
Whether people want to admit it or not, we have been collecting wins. Two of the biggest issues that have been plaguing the games industry right now are the rising prices.
Nino! Yeah, this is pretty bad.
of games and the exponential rate in which they're being carved up and served for microtransactions. Publishers have been seeing nothing but dollar signs, but their aggressive tactics have left players feeling like we are constantly being charged more for less. And that frustration isn't fading. If anything, it's reaching a boiling point. And the result hasn't been that we're buying fewer games, it's that we're buying somebody else's. One of the clearest examples of this backlash came with Borderlands 4, where fans started asking about the game's price. Gearbox's CEO got evasive, defensive, and at one point downright condescending. I've already covered that mess in detail, but here's the short version of it. After weeks of dodging, he finally came forward to say that the game would launch at $70, not $80, not following in the footsteps of Nintendo or Xbox.
Yeah, he said that after this huge backlash happened. Well, after people were already criticizing how the game looks, after already the whole EULA thing, honestly, with their EULA having full access to our PCs, they should be paying us
for that data.
And to be honest,
yeah,
I was relieved. Yeah, the bundles for the game are still absurdly overpriced. $100 deluxe and $130 super deluxe is laughable, but keeping the base game at $70 is a win for now. It's clear Take-Two either realized that this wasn't the game to test a price hike on, or they just felt like this wasn't the time. But instead of that being treated as a clear example of customer pressure working, the moment was brushed aside. Gaming outlets immediately downplayed the backlash, calling it drama, insisted that we actually had no impact, and claimed that the decision...
Okay, but like, riddle me this. Why does a game company need kernel access? Is it pronounced kernel?
Kernel.
Why does a gaming company need kernel access to your goddamn machine?
Likely was going to happen anyway, because God forbid players feel like they had a hand in anything or any power. In an article from Kotaku written by Zach Zweisen titled Borderlands 4 Reveals $70 Price Tag Proving All of the Drama Was for Nothing, Zach wrote, last month the price of Borderlands 4 became a hot topic because Gearbox CEO Randy Pitchford on May 9th after Nintendo...
Randy Pitchford should literally be confiscated internet access. Not internet access, but like social media access. Because, I'm sorry, but like, yes, that man was pretty good at what he used to do, but now he's dumb.
And Xbox had announced $80 video games like Mario Kart World, Pitchford told fans at PAX East that the price of the game was going to be announced soon. He also claimed that he had no idea what the price would be, but assured people that the game would be worth it. Then on May 20th, Pitchford really stepped in it when a fan asked him on social media about a possible price of $80 on Borderlands 4. He infamously replied, "If you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen." This went over poorly with the internet. A few days later, he said he didn't mean to sound like an asshole. A week later, he posted a 573-word-long tweet apologizing and explaining that he just meant that Borderlands 4 would be fine even with the higher price tag, and that he didn't intend to set off a firestorm of controversy and discourse. That brings us to today, where 2K finally confirmed that Borderlands 4 is only $70. After all of that hoopla and online drama, it turns out that the game is only going to cost what nearly every AAA game costs in 2025.
I'm still not buying
plus
it.
Tax.
Like, not only I'm broke, but I also have like at least some shred of respect and hypocrisy in me that I'm not gonna buy it. But again, I have hypocrisy, so who knows?
Oh wait, no.
I have what?
You have Game Pass now.
Oh no, it's expiring soon.
Was any of it worth it in the end? Not really. But hey, at least Borderlands 4 isn't going to hold the game hostage and force you to pay a ransom fee to play it a few days early, so that's nice. Guys, I read at least half a dozen articles just like that one, and not a single one of these writers was willing to even entertain the idea that the online debates or player pushback had any impact on the decision. The overwhelming consensus, it was always going to be $70. Really? Then why was Randy Pitchford so evasive about the price in the first place? Are we really supposed to believe that the CEO of Gearbox genuinely has no clue what his own game is going to cost?
Oh, he knows. Can we stop pretending like he doesn't know what's happening and that he doesn't know how much the game is gonna be priced at and that he doesn't have any control about it? Can we stop doing this shit?
Just months before release? Let's at least be honest here. the price did not stay $70 in a vacuum. It wasn't just Borderlands 4 that got people talking. It's the entire ongoing backlash against Nintendo, against Xbox, and the string of high-profile failures that we've seen across AAA publishing. Assassin's Creed, one of the most recognizable franchises in gaming, still has not shared unit sales. Avowed came and went in a week. Doom Dark Ages, the exact same thing. If I remember correctly, the only major AAA successes that we have seen this year is Monster Hunter Wilds and
Oh my god. Doom Dark Ages. Okay, so for me, Doom Dark Ages was my very first Doom game. A lot of people were excited about seeing me play it, but also it was like mixed with them wanting me to experience the actual Doom afterwards as well, which I did, and I enjoyed it a lot. We have a video of the gameplay on our YouTube channel, which also was edited by Mike. Heavily recommend checking it out if you want to see someone experiencing Doom 2016 for the very first time in their life.
Elden Ring Night Rain. Meanwhile, it's all been smaller or mid-sized games. Repo, Schedule 1, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Expedition 33, Split Fiction. These are the games that were dominating charts, headlines, and conversations. I'm sorry, but you can't tell me that there isn't a world where one of these publishers finally wakes up and says, hey, maybe we're pushing too hard, maybe we're moving too fast, maybe the players are actually done with this. Borderlands 4 is not the kind of game, especially the money that they put into it, it's definitely not the kind of game that they're going to want to gamble with, especially with the price increase. The last few entries did not land well. This one's being...
I'm more curious about how Outer Worlds will come across when it releases. Because there's already people ripping it to shreds.
It's gonna do well within their core audience,
Mm-hmm.
but outside they're not gonna gain any.
Yeah, I don't know how it's gonna go.
Quietly framed as a soft reboot, there's a lot of uncertainty here. And when the entire gaming community is already at a boiling point, you don't fan the flames, you back off, at least for now. And if you want further proof that these publishers are starting to feel the pressure, look no further than RuneScape 3. Their CEO just came forward and made a video outright admitting that their microtransaction strategy had damaged the game, bluntly stating that it had stagnated and declined their player base. He said that if the game was going to survive, they would have to completely rethink how they monetize it. They even walked through some of the ways that they planned on reversing course, removing some systems that were built around microtransactions and trying to reintegrate them with the core gameplay. They admitted that it was risky, that it could cause some problems that they couldn't predict. And yeah, for a game that's this deep into its life cycle, it might be too little too late, but it's a signal. And I think we're going to start to see more of this. Not because publishers suddenly care, it's because these guys are losing money and they're starting to feel the pressure. I've said this a lot over the years, and it's taken a while for me to be proven right, but players can only be pushed so far. And so can the games themselves. I'm sure there's executives sitting in a boardroom somewhere thinking to themselves that microtransactions are an infinite money glitch and that players are impulsive enough to be able to fall.
Yeah, but the microtransactions and like the skins and whatnot, they only really work well with a free-to-play game. Like best example, Valorant, right? Same with Marvel Rivals, also free-to-play games. You have battle passes, same as with Valorant. You have skins, you have emotes, you have like those short-term passes.
Fall for it every single time. And to be fair, sometimes they're right, but only to a point. People only have so much time and so much money, and when you apply as much pressure as this industry has between rising prices and nonstop monetization, the audience doesn't just bend, it breaks, it collapses, and then it migrates. Games that lean far too into greed either price themselves out of their own market or they ruin their design on a fundamental level. I think Diablo 4 is a perfect example of that. One of the most recognizable franchises in the world, massive launch numbers, and yet it lost all of its momentum almost immediately. Why? Because it just couldn't be a Diablo game. It had to be Call of Duty. It had to have a battle pass. It had to block all of its best cosmetics behind a pay.
Maybe the Diablo thing is not like the best example considering what Diablo 4 did. Like, just a thought.
Wall instead of rewarding players for actually playing the game. And yeah, some people are going to say, well, it's just that the game wasn't good. And that's exactly the point. It wasn't good because of how it was built around its monetization. All that time and effort went into how that game was monetized, how they were going to monetize that experience instead of making it about what the experience was in the first place. They made that game so easy and so shallow just to be able to reach a broader audience. But what it actually did was undermine the longevity of the entire product. How many hours do you think players are going to want to invest in a shallow game? They then threw in a battle pass, and suddenly players feel like they're on a schedule they can't even keep. They made gear you earn look way worse than the stuff that you can buy.
Okay.
So even when you do grind, it feels like you accomplished nothing. And sure, people stop playing because it's not.
Yeah, and that's one of the main problems people have with specific games. Your time is not at the same value as money, where in the past, games mostly had like the same equivalent of time and money. It just money was like a shortcut.
Not very fun, but that's still a choice, and those choices shape how games are made in the future. The truth is, we are changing the games industry. Some of it happens through direct backlash, petitions, and public outcry. Some of it happens more quietly when millions of players shift their money elsewhere or simply stop showing up. That influence may not look like a victory. It may not come with a press release or a public apology, but you can see it in the decisions that they make. You can see it in the price tags that they walk back, the monetization that they adjust, the games that fail, and the ones they cancel. People will keep telling you that it doesn't matter, that complaining is just noise, that we're wasting our breath, but those people don't decide anything. We do. We're the ones that are paying for these games. We are the ones that are talking about them, recommending them, warning each other, and keeping the pressure on. And no matter how much they try to shut us out or discredit what we're doing, the fact remains the industry does not exist without us. We are not just a part of the equation, we are the equation. And people need to remember that. A lot of times when I see
Well, for me, I see more and more people, like for example, when I'm streaming new releases, more and more people are finding our channel just because they want to see if this game is even worth the time and the money and the effort. Even the consumers are so burnt out with how many games are coming out that are either one, bad performance, two, you literally need to get the newest PC, and three, it's boring as all hell. There's so many issues in the gaming industry right now. Besides them unplugging games, there's so much happening right now.
people trying to push back or take away wins from the players, push back against their arguments, their criticisms, the backlash that they see, try to undermine that stuff and just call it drama. A lot of it is just personal differences. It's an us versus them.
Also, people talking about games and having an opinion on a game is not freaking drama. Like, are people not allowed to talk about a game without being labeled like drama tuber and stuff like that? By the way, I had this happen a lot when me and Zen were mostly concentrating on like new games coming out and videos were mostly games. We were accused of being drama tubers more than right now, and we cover like most of our videos now are drama videos.
Mentality that has popped up over the last couple of years that's been in journalism, it's been in game dev, it's been all over the place. It's even on our side, but the difference is we're the paying customer. You just have to deal with it for the most part. But, you know, I'm just going to tell you right now, trying to fight against your customer is not a really good idea. It's not a very effective business strategy. You have the power to change things. You genuinely do. You vote with your wallet. That is the strongest ability that you have.
Yeah.
And it's the most effective ability that's out there because these companies will listen to the money. That's the only thing that they'll listen to.
Yeah.
I just
100%
saw that Square
agree.
Enix put out a press release or a notice saying that they recognize the success of Expedition 33 and they plan to make more turn-based games in the future. You did that. You did that by supporting a game that you enjoyed, by talking about it, by getting other people to play it, by sharing screenshots and memes or cosplaying as it or whatever it might be. Your support of a game that you enjoyed directly led to you getting more of the things that you enjoy.
Yeah.
That's why I always say it's never about not spending money. It's about spending money the right way and putting money in the right places.
Yep.
That's why it's so incredible to see how many people have been supporting indie titles because that means we get more of them.
Like Power World. Great example. And I don't care what the hell someone is gonna say. I'm gonna say go support Power World. It's not expensive. It's super entertaining. Even though Nintendo is coming after their necks, they're still releasing so many additions, so many expansions. Not a DLC that you have to buy. If you bought the game once, you get all of it. And just recently, they released Power World Exterraria, which, by the way, it upped the quality of life in the game. It added new monsters, it added fishing. It's amazing. Go get Pal World, you're gonna have so many hours of playtime.
That means more indie developers think that it's worth the risk to make a game. They want to take that chance. And in some cases with some of these other studios or some of these bigger publishers, they see more opportunity in investing in some of those guys, or maybe making smaller games in some of their larger studios. That's what you want to see. That's the power of your money. Something more direct than your money is something like Stop Killing Games. Second reminder, if you're an EU viewer or you have EU friends, share it, read it, sign it, check it out, and support it. I think it's probably the most worthwhile thing that I've talked about on this channel, to be honest with you, because even if it doesn't bring the change that you're looking for, it's at least going to draw attention to a lot of things that are going wrong in this industry, and that alone is worthwhile. It may not bring the change that you want, but it will protect you in the future.
And it's also just about like getting the conversation started. Right now, not a lot of people are talking about it, which is a shame. It comes and goes in waves. One day, people are talking about it, then they're not talking about it for months. Like, just as long as the conversation keeps on happening and people are talking about it and understand that they have all the control, that in the end will bring in the results.
I don't know if I did any justice to it. I hope that this video found some value with some people. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did enjoy it, share the video, like the video, comment down below on other things that you think that the industry is running into trouble with, other things that you think need to be brought to light, or whatever it might be. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys for watching the video. If you guys did enjoy the video, subscribe.
I enjoyed it way too much. We've been reacting to it for 2 hours.
Yeah, we fly high. Check it. Spread my wings high, reach the sky. Feathers in the wind, never asking why. I'm a bird, motherfucker, I'm a bird. Soaring high, yeah, that's the word. Flying free like you never heard.